Hi, I'm Lois and welcome to Molko Studios, and today we're making the Eden Zipped Tote Bag. These tote bags come in two versions, tall and wide. You can find all of the supplies, cutting templates and a detailed step-by-step written tutorial with colour photographs on how to make these pouches in the pattern. I will put a link to purchase the pattern in the description box below the video. In this video, I will be making the tall Eden Zipped Tote Bag. Using the templates and cutting list provided in the pattern, cut out the all of pattern pieces in your chosen fabrics and apply interfacing to the wrong sides of both exterior pieces, A, both base pieces B and both exterior fabric, recessed zipper pieces. Cutting the lining. Match the blue stars of pattern pieces A and B and loosely tape them together to form the lining piece, then cut two. Make the D-ring straps. Take your D-ring loop strip and fold it in half lengthways and press. Reopen, then fold the raw edges towards the centre crease created and press into place. Then refold the whole thing in half and press again. Finally, top stitch the long sides to keep the strap together. Once sewn, cut the strip in half, down the middle, so you have two equally length strips of 10 centimeters or 4 inches. Thread a D-ring onto each of the strips, then fold the strips in half. And secure the loops with a line of stitch near the raw edges. Make the short straps. Take the 4 shorter faux leather strips and apply double-sided tape to the back along the centre of each. Remove the backing from the tape, then with one hand pinch and fold both raw edges into the middle of the strap, and with the other hand press the seams firmly onto the tape. Next, apply double-sided tape to the back along the centre to 2 of the already folded strips. Lay a taped faux leather strip wrong side up, seams facing up, and remove the tape backing. Take an untaped faux leather strip right side up, seams facing down, and place it on top, aligning it as central as you can. Repeat for the other strips. Top stitch both the long sides of the straps 0.5 cm or 3/16 of an inch away from the edge. I like to use a stitch length of 3.5 for this, as it gives the straps a lovely finish. A trick to get a neat 0.5 cm or 3/16 of an inch seam allowance is to change needle position to far right, then use the edge of your standard sewing foot as a guide by keeping it in line with the top edge of the bag as you sew. You may need to use a Teflon foot or a walking foot if your fabric is quite sticky. I also recommend you test your stitches on some scrap fabric, 4 layers thick, before sewing your straps. Both of your shorter straps are now finished, so put them aside whilst we make the adjustable strap. Take both your longer strips of faux leather and repeat the steps as before. Apply double-sided tape to the back along the centre of each. Remove the backing from the tape, then with one hand pinch and fold both raw edges into the middle of the strap, and with the other hand press the seams firmly onto the tape. Next, apply double-sided tape to the back along the centre of the already folded strip. Lay a taped faux leather strip wrong side up, seams facing up, and remove the tape backing. Take an untaped faux leather strip right side up, seams facing down, and place it on top, aligning it as central as you can. Top stitch both the long sides of the strap, 0.5 centimetre or 3/16 of an inch away from the edge. Take your metal strap slider and thread the strap through and around the middle bar like this. Fold the end over by 2.5 centimetres or 1 inch and sew a straight line of stitch across to secure it into place. I like to go over it back and forth a few times to really secure it down. If your machine is struggling to sew through both layers of faux leather, then try using a walking foot and/or a thicker needle. Next, slip on one of the swivel clasps onto the strap. Then thread the strap through the strap slider. Make sure your swivel clasp is on the outside of the loop. Thread the strap down the other side of the strap slider like this. Thread the other swivel clasp through the other end of the strap. Fold the end over by 2.5 centimetres or 1 inch and sew a straight line of stitches to secure it in place. Again, I like to go over it back and forth a few times to really secure it down. Make sure that both ends of the strap match. There are no twists and the fold over sections are all on the same side of the strap. All of your straps and D-rings loops are complete. Inserting the exterior flush pockets. Follow the flush pocket steps simultaneously for both of the main body pieces and both flush pocket pieces. Take your Molko paper pattern and poke a hole through all 4 of the blue dots of the flush pocket. Lay a main body piece right side up, align the paper pattern on top, then poke a vanishing marker or chalk through all blue holes to transfer the markings onto the fabric. Take your paper template and use a pin or the end of a pencil to poke a hole through all of the orange dots in the corners of the zipper template. Next, lay your flush pocket pieces right side up and lay the paper pattern on top. Align the top and the side edges so that the fabric sits directly inside the blue box. Then poke a vanishing marker or chalk through all orange holes to transfer the zipper template onto the fabric. Remove the template and join all the dots together using a ruler and a marker. Lay one of your exterior fabric pieces right side up and place the pocket fabric wrong side up on top, so the zipper template markings are facing up. Arrange it so that the top and side edges of the pocket fabric fit perfectly inside the blue dots you made earlier. Pin into place. With a short stitch length, I'm using size 2. Stitch around the outer rectangle only. Do not sew any of the lines inside the rectangle. When you reach a corner, keep your needle down. Raise the presser foot, pivot the fabric 90 degrees, then lower the presser foot and continue sewing. Remember to backstitch at the end of your line of stitches. Using sharp scissors, cut a slit down the middle of the sewn rectangle and cut the V's. Make sure to cut through both layers of the fabric, external and pocket, and be careful not to cut the stitching. You can use a seam ripper or a rotary cutter to get the slit started. Then pull all of the pocket fabric through the slit in the rectangle. Smooth out the opening with the help of an iron, concentrating on the front. Press the front and the back side so that the seams are flat. The inside may become a little puckered, but don't worry, no one will see that part. Using a sewing needle and thread tack or hand stitch the open end of the zipper closed. This makes sewing the zipper pocket much easier. Or you can knit the zipper back together. Tips on this can be found on my website, molco.co.uk. Lay your main body piece wrong side up and lay your zipper wrong side up into the open gap. Arrange the zipper so that it is in the centre of the open gap, then secure it in place. You can use pins, double-sided tape, fusible webbing, whichever you prefer or have to hand. I prefer to use electrical tape, which I will later remove. If using tape, apply it to the very edge of the zipper, as you do not want to stitch through it. Attach your zipper foot, then top stitch around the rectangle roughly 0.3 centimeters or 1/8 of an inch from the edge using a size 4 to 4.5 stitch length. If your zipper pull gets in the way, keep your needle down. Raise the presser foot. Gently slide the zipper pull out of the way, then lower the presser foot and continue sewing. When you reach a corner, keep your needle down, raise the presser foot, pivot the fabric 90 degrees, then lower the presser foot and continue sewing. Remember to backstitch at the end of your line of stitches. Trim the excess zipper so that it is not 0.6 centimeter or 1/4 of an inch away from your line of stitches. To finish the pocket, fold the pocket fabric upwards in half. Align all the edges of the pocket fabric, then pin around the top and sides. Only pin the pocket fabric. Do not pin through to the main body fabric. Attach your standard sewing machine foot and reduce your stitch length to 2 or 2.5 and stitch all the way around the pocket, apart from the bottom fold, using a 0.6 centimeter 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. You will need to fold the exterior fabric out of the way to avoid sewing through it whilst you sew the pocket together. Make sure to backstitch at the start and the end of your line of stitch. Your flush pocket is now complete. Both exterior panels are complete with flush zippers. Creating the exterior fabric panels, lay one main body piece, a right side up. Then take one base panel piece B, wrong side up, and lay it down on top, with the square cut out areas pointing towards the top. Align the edges and pin them together. If you are using faux leather or cork, you will need to use sewing clips instead of pins. Repeat with the other main body and base panel pieces so that you have 2 pinned panels. Make sure the flush pocket is lifted upwards and out of the way. Stitch both pieces together with a 1.5 centimeter or 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. open up the panels. Then on the back press the main body seam allowance down into the bottom panel and flatten really well with a hot iron on the front and the back. If you are using faux leather, be sure to do a test with the iron so you do not melt the fabric. I prefer to use a mesh ironing cloth to protect my fabrics. Change your stitch length to 3.5 and top stitch 2 rows of stitch below the joining seam in coordinating thread. This gives extra strength to the base of the bag, helps to keep those pressed seams flat, and also gives the bag a little bit of extra detail. You can use your zipper foot for this. Both of your exterior fabric panels are now ready for the next step. Attaching the short straps. Lay both of the exterior fabric panels right side up and use the Molko paper pattern to transfer the strap position marks onto both using a vanishing marker or chalk. Lay a set of straps onto each one using the marks you just made to get the placement correct. Adjust them so that they are overhanging the top edge of the exterior fabric panels by 1.5 cm or 5/8 of an inch, then pin into place. Make sure that the straps are not twisted. Sew both the straps onto both of the exterior fabric panels by sewing across the top, close to the edge. Attach the D-rings. Use the Molko paper pattern to transfer the D-ring loop position marks onto both panels using a vanishing marker or chalk. Next, lay your D-ring loops into place with the raw edges facing outwards. Arrange them so the fold of the loop pouch flat edge of the D-ring is 1.5 centimetre or 5/8 of an inch away from the edge of the exterior fabric panel. Pin or clip into place. Stitch the D-ring loops into place close to the edge of the exterior fabric panel. Assemble the exterior bag. Lay one of your exterior panels right side up and place the other exterior panel on top, wrong side up so that both right sides of the fabrics are touching each other. Align all the edges, paying extra attention to the top edge seams and the base panel seams. You want these to match up perfectly. Pin these seams first, then pin the sides and bottom of the bag together, leaving the square areas of the corners. Stitch along the sides and the bottom of the bag. Do not sew the square areas of the corners. It is also very important to backstitch at the start and the end of each line of stitch to ensure your seams do not reopen later on. Once all of the sides are sewn, press your seams open with a hot iron. This will ensure that your corners and edges stay nice and flat and not bulky. sewing the corners. Next, it's time to pay attention to those corners that give this bag its great shape. Pinch one of the square openings in the opposite direction so that it creates a corner shape. Make sure to align the seams. You will find this step much easier now that the seams have been pressed open. Pin or clip the pinched corner closed. Then, repeat for the other corner. Stitch both corners with a 0.6 centimetre or 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Make sure to backstitch at the start and the end of each line of stitch to ensure your seams do not reopen later on. Once both corners are sewn, your exterior bag should look like this. The exterior bag is now complete, so put this aside whilst we pay our attention to the lining. Create the internal slip pocket. Take your slip pocket piece and fold it in half lengthways. Press the fold with an iron. Take your slip pocket trimming piece and fold it in half lengthways. Press with an iron. Reopen, then fold the raw edges towards the centre crease created and press with the iron. Refold the whole thing in half lengthways and press again. Then tuck the raw open edges of the pocket into the centre of the fold of your pocket, trimming and pin or clip into place. Sew 2 lines of stitch across the pocket, trimming to secure it into place. I like to use a stitch length of 3.5 for this, as it gives the pocket a lovely finish. Take one of the lining fabric pieces and lay it down right side up. Use the Molko paper pattern to transfer the bottom slip pocket position marks onto one of the lining pieces using a vanishing marker or chalk. Pin the slip pocket right side up into place, using the marks as a guide to get the correct positioning. You may notice that the pocket is slightly wider than it needs to be, but this is okay. Sew the pocket into place, down the side edges and across the bottom fold. Using a ruler and a vanishing marker or chalk or a tracing wheel, mark a vertical line straight down the middle of the pocket. Then mark 4 centimeters or 1.5 inch from each side edge. You want these side edge lines to be in line with the cut corners of the lining fabric. This prevents the pockets from bellowing out too much when the bag is finished. Sew all 3 marks of the pocket, making sure to backstitch at the start and the end of your line of stitches to ensure the pockets are well attached and your stitches do not reopen. I like to use a stitch length of 3.5 for this, as it gives the pocket a lovely finish. Inserting the internal flush pocket. We are going to insert the internal flush pocket in the same way as the external flush pockets. Lay the other lining piece, the one without the slip pocket, right side up, align the paper pattern on top, then poke a vanishing marker or chalk through all blue holes to transfer the markings onto the fabric. Next, lay your flush pocket piece right side up and lay the paper pattern on top. Align the top and the side edges so that the fabric sits directly inside the blue box. Then poke a hole through all of the orange dots in corners of the zipper template. Remove the template and join all the dots together using a ruler and a marker. Place the flush pocket piece on top of the lining piece so the zip markings are facing you. Arrange it so that the top and side edges of the pocket piece fit perfectly inside the marks or blue dots you made earlier. Pin into place. Repeat the same steps as earlier to complete the internal flush pocket. I'm going to speed this along a little, but please refer back to the detailed steps before, if needed. Here is the finished internal flush pocket. Creating the recessed zipper closure. Take your recessed zipper end piece and fold over the shorter ends to the wrong side of the fabric by 0.6 centimetre or 1/4 of an inch. Press the folds with a hot iron. Fold the piece in half, right sides together. And sew a 0.6 centimetre or 1/4 of an inch seam down both of the sides. Make sure to backstitch at the start and the end of each line of stitch to ensure your seams do not reopen later on. Turn your piece right side out and gently poke out the corners until they are nice and neat. Give the piece a good press with the iron. Then slip it over the end of the zipper. Secure it in place by adding a line of stitches close to the opening. I like to go over back and forth a few times to make sure the zipper end is really secure. Next, take your 2 exterior recessed zipper pieces and your 2 lining recessed zipper pieces and fold over the shorter ends to the wrong side of the fabric by 0.6 centimetre or 1/4 of an inch. Press the folds as flat as you can with a hot iron. Then take your zip right side up and using a marker or chalk, draw a mark on the zip 3 centimetres or 1.2 inches away from the raw ends on each half of the zipper. Twist and fold the ends of the zipper 90 degrees so that the raw ends of the zipper match up with the chalked marks you made. Pin these folds into place. Then sew them down using your sewing machine. Try and make these folds as equal as you can. Take both your exterior recessed zipper pieces and lay them down as you want them to look when they are finished. For example, make sure your fabric patterns are running in the right direction. On the inner right hand side, mark a 2 cm or 3/4 of an inch point away from the folded edge on both pieces using a disappearing marker or chalk. Open up the zipper all the way. Align the raw edges of the exterior fabric with the fabric edge of the zipper, then align the folded edge of the zipper onto the mark that you just made. Pin or clip into place. Put on your zipper foot and guide the edge of the foot with the raw edge of the zipper to ensure you don't sew the zipper in too tightly. If you sew too close to the teeth, it will make it difficult to open and close. Take one of your lining recessed zipper pieces and lay it down, wrong side up, on top of your exterior piece. Adjust it so that it is central and the raw edges of the exterior fabric, lining and the fabric edge of the zipper are all perfectly aligned. Pin into place. Again with your zipper foot on start at one end and begin to sew through all 3 layers, the exterior fabric, zipper and lining. Use the zipper foot as a guide against the edge zipper. Fold both of your exterior and lining fabric pieces over so that the wrong sides of both pieces are touching each other. Press down with your fingers or use an iron to flatten the fold. If you use an iron, be careful not to melt your zip. Increase your stitch length to 3.5. Starting at one end, top stitch in a U shape all around the zipper panel 0.6 centimetre or 1/4 of an inch away from the edges. This will sew the lining and exterior fabric panels together and hide all your raw edges. You do not need to sew the open bottom of the panel. When you reach the corners, keep your needle down, raise the presser foot, pivot the fabric, then lower the foot and continue sewing. Now for the other side. Lay down your other exterior zipper piece right side up, then align the raw edges of the exterior fabric with the fabric edge of the zipper. Then align the folded edge of the zip onto the mark. Pin or clip into place. Complete the recessed zipper. Now we are going to repeat same steps as before to complete the recessed zipper. I'm going to speed this along a little, but please refer back to the detailed steps before if needed. You should now have a complete recessed zipper that looks like this. Take your completed recessed zipper and fold it in half. Mark the centre folds on both sides of the fabric and both sides of the panel using a disappearing marker or chalk. With a disappearing marker or chalk, mark the centre points of both your lining pieces using the Molko paper pattern or by folding them in half. With your lining fabric right side up, place the recessed zipper right side up against the top edge. Use the centre marks you made to ensure it is perfectly centred. Pin or clip into place. Sew the panel into place, close to the top edge. Take your other lining fabric, right side up. Open the zipper fully, then place the other half of the recessed zipper right side up against the top edge. Use the centre marks you made to ensure it is perfectly centred. Pin or clip into place. Then again sew into place, close the top edge. Here is a front and back image of how your lining should look when it is opened out and laid flat. Assemble the lining, zip the zipper fully closed, then pin or clip the recessed zipper end out of the way whilst we assemble the lining. Lay one of your lining fabric pieces right side up and place the other lining piece on top, wrong side up, so that both right sides of the fabrics are touching each other. Align all the edges, then pin the sides and bottom of the bag together, leaving the square areas of the corners. Using chalk or a marker, mark a 20cm or 8-inch gap in the middle of the bottom of the lining. stitch along the sides and the bottom of the bag, leaving the turnout gap. And again, like with the exterior fabric, do not sew the square areas of the corners. It is also very important to backstitch at the start and the end of each line of stitch to ensure your seams do not reopen later on. Once the seams have been sewn, cut off the excess slip pocket fabric. Finish off the lining. Now we are going to sew the corners in the lining, just like we did for the exterior bag. I'm going to speed this along a little, but please refer back to the detailed steps before if needed. Open the recessed zipper fully, then turn the lining bag right side out. Let the recessed zipper panels drop down so they are touching the right sides of the lining bag. Make sure the short straps are pushed inside the exterior bag. Then place the lining bag inside the exterior bag so that both right sides of the bags are facing each other and your recessed zipper is sandwiched between them. Align the raw edges of the exterior and lining bags at the top, paying lots of attention to the joining seams. Pin or clip into place. So all the way around the top edge of the bag. I recommend removing the extension table and the accessory compartment from your sewing machine so the bag can fit around the machine arm easily. Once sewn, snip off the excess strap fabric. Reach into the gap in the lining and turn the bag right side out. Poke out the corners with your fingers. Now we are going to close up the gap in the lining. Fold the raw edges of the lining gap inward and either close with a hand stitch or you can pin and sew the opening shut using a 0.3 centimetre or 1/8 of an inch seam allowance, so it will not be that noticeable. With your zipper fully open, push the recessed zipper inside the bag along with the rest of the lining. Pin or clip the folded top edge to keep it nice and flat. Top stitch around the top edge of the bag, 0.5 centimetre or 3/16 of an inch away from the edge. I like to use a stitch length of 3.5 for this, as it gives the bag a lovely finish. If you are having a hard time sewing through the layers, try using a walking foot and or a thicker needle. A trick to get a neat 0.5 centimetre or 3/16 of an inch seam allowance is to change the needle position to the far right, then use the edge of your standard sewing foot as a guide by keeping it in line with the top edge of the bag as you sew. Here is how the top of the bag should look now that it has been top stitched. The final step is to clip the adjustable strap onto the D-rings, and then your bag is complete. I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and you are proud of your new bag. If you appreciate this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. To purchase the paper templates used in this tutorial, please follow the link in the description box below the video. The PDF pattern also includes a supplies list and a detailed step-by-step written tutorial with colour photographs. Your purchase helps support my business so I can keep creating more tutorials like this one. To see what other sewing tutorials and patterns I have on offer, head over to mulco.co.uk